Hell yeah. Oh yeah. Just let me work, just let me work. My way grinding. Yeah, my way grinding. Woo. I told him that oh yeah, I'm out here grinding. Hey, you ain't never heard nothing like this. Let me work.
What up, Afternoon Sports Drive here on the Triple Play Sports Radio Network. Patrick Wheeler here in studio on Monday, kicking off a new week, and Levi Peck and Paz joining me too in the studio, back like you never left on Friday.
Like I never left, baby.
I don't think you really have. You left the studio since Friday?
No.
Okay.
No, I haven't.
Just camped out here all weekend.
Pretty much, you just pitched tent in the back in the recording booth. It's been a long weekend, but I'm happy to be back on, Patrick.
Hey, well, I'm kind of making you pull some double duty too, because you got your show later on tonight in the Old College student section, kicking off at 8:00.
Yeah, of course, going to talk about everything going on in college football, NFL. It's going to be it's a football packed show. So
oh yeah.
Excited for it. I'm really excited to talk about the Alabama versus Georgia game. Loved that, and there was a lot of interesting things coming out about that. NFL, of course. I mean, we're going to go over anything under the sun when it comes to football.
Yeah, Mondays are for football, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we got to recap it, and of course, we're going to do some of that too.
I almost think every day is just for football.
Well, it's true. I agree. Yeah, I'm with you. Every day is for football. Of course, we got high school, we got college, we got NFL to get to. A lot of good stuff as Levi joins me here for the first hour. In hour number 2, I have to sit here and I'm going to try to pull off watching the Chiefs and talking sports at the same time. I think I can do it. Maybe.
I wouldn't be able to do it. I mean, I'm going to have a hard time.
You have the Cowboys on tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to have a hard time with my Cowboys on tonight when they're taking on Arizona. It's going to be a very fun game, mainly because both teams are playing with guys that are out and injured, and so now it's two completely different teams.
I think it's a huge game.
Oh, yeah, it's huge, especially for Arizona. They got to figure out what they can do on that offensive side to kind of counteract some of the defensive guys going out, mainly Chandler Jones out for the season. That's the biggest thing. Chandler Jones is one of the most underrated guys in the NFL, one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. And so now either the defense has to figure out how to make up for it, or Kyler Murray's got to go, okay, so now it's going to turn into the thing where I have to score so much that it doesn't matter what Dallas does.
Yeah, we'll get to that one here in a little bit too, because I think it's also huge for Andy Dalton. He's his first start with the Cowboys. He came in and did just enough last week to keep them in that victory against the Giants, and hopefully, I know Cowboys fans are seeing that this is a big opportunity for them to say, okay, if he starts this game and goes up against the Cardinals, who aren't just a normal Arizona Cardinals, right? They're actually a competitive team this year. There's a lot on the line here for Dallas. Plus, Andy Dalton to say, hey, I don't care if Dak's gone. Like I'm the guy now, right?
Yeah, exactly. Say, yeah, I might have ended up not winning anything over there in Cincinnati, but I can do the same thing here in Dallas.
That's right. They signed me for a reason, okay, people?
To keep the status quo. Let's go.
Oh, man, Levi doesn't have the confidence yet, but who knows? After tonight, we may be coming back, and you might be like, wow, Andy Dalton, he's your next jersey.
Okay.
Andy Dalton Cowboys jersey?
I'll rather go for the cheap Andy Dalton Bengals jersey. Geez, that's also cheap. What'll be like is, hey, I'll come in the studio. Hey, Andy Dalton, he was about average. We won and or lost the game.
That's right. Yeah. Okay, that sounds about right. I'm expecting that same reaction, so don't worry. We'll be sure to get that too. Of course, you can always hear Levi with me on Fridays as well, as we always kick around the NFL. Our picks are literally, they were dead even coming into this week. I have not tallied yet without these two, so of course we got these two tonight. As we know of right now, no Tuesday night football scheduled like last week, so we should be good to go. I know. I was feeling spoiled with the Tuesday night game.
Not gonna lie,
awesome.
Tuesday night game was kind of fire.
It was cool because there were two good teams, and then we go into Thursday and there's no games, so you're kind of like, but this week we had high school football to make up for it, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
And so that was kind of a good thing there to kind of make up for it. And then we have this game that was supposed to be on Thursday, moved to in about an hour with the Chiefs and the Bills, kicking off in Buffalo, which will be a fun one. Speaking of high school, some big changes coming up here. It appears is going to be the case for high school football playoffs in Oklahoma. And that is basically everybody in high school football in Oklahoma is going to get a shot at the playoffs this year. That's right.
OSSAA basically going Oprah with playoff spots. You get a game. You get a game. You get a game. Everybody gets a game.
That's right.
And here's the thing: I understand why they're wanting to do this because of COVID. A lot of people are having to cancel games. I mean, for myself, Pawnee versus Chelsea got canceled on Friday. It was late Friday. You got the alert due to COVID reasons. The game got canceled.
You find that out late Friday?
Late
Wow.
Friday. Yeah. It was that close to the wire.
Oh man.
But now with everything going on, there's so many people that are canceling games that you can't make up because of how the schedule really pans out. So I understand, but I 1,000,000% don't like this.
Yeah. So the OSSAA is basically they got a private meeting going on tomorrow where they're basically going to lay this out. They sent out an email today to coaches and administrators saying, look, what it is kind of telling their teams, if you guys want to be included, basically you can, and then like anyone's going to say no to that. So I'm with you. I mean, I can understand maybe the need of let's try to give more teams a chance here because they lost games, but at the same time, it's always for me a competition factor, and it reminds me of, as I said with Major League Baseball, the expansion of playoffs. You know, I came on here and was like, look, I just don't support below average teams getting a chance in the playoffs. And look, we may see an 8-win team, very likely actually, in the NFL make the playoffs, which probably doesn't deserve to be there, right? Yeah, the Cowboys, like, come on. I'm serious. It's one of those things where it's like you look at some of these teams in high school that have no business being there, and they might have a shot. So it's a very dramatic change to me. I think that it's easy to do with COVID because all you have to do is say, well, look, we just gave the reasons what they're given too. Well, because some of these teams didn't get a fair enough event. Like, that's just life. And we're sitting here in a really weird time where, sorry, you didn't get enough games, but why should we have to reward them with the playoff trip, right?
Yeah, the only other thing I could think about is expanding how many weeks you get and allowing like another couple weeks for play, and so you can insert some of those games that you lost to make them up. But I mean, no matter what, this is just going to lengthen out the high school football season to the point where we're going to be going, let's say season ends about
early November.
Yeah. And so now the playoffs are going to be pretty close to Christmas time or a little bit after. So yeah, you're expanding the playoff plate for so long. It's going to be kind of nuts for some teams. But I mean, there's so many teams, and mainly it's not when you go up to your 5, 6A. There's, compared to when you go down to 2A and A, oh man, there's such a difference. For like 5, 6A, it's okay. They'll be fine with it. But for teams like Pawnee and all of the teams that are in those A districts, it's extremely crazy because, say, a top team in A is now going to have to go up against some kind of pipsqueak team, bulldoze over them, and there's more of a chance for injuries, more of a chance for illness. There's so many pros and cons with this. I understand completely why you want to do this because there's so many teams that are going to be missing out on games, and so many teams that already have missed out on games. But there's also going to be a factor of, well, it is the kind of participation trophy type of thing. And for high school football, I don't know if teams want to go in, like there's going to be like some teams that haven't even won a game that are going to be going into the playoffs. They know they're stepping into a whooping ground. They know that they're stepping into an L, and I don't even know if you want to waste anybody's time with that.
That's why I think they leave the option open, for some of these schools, because it's like you said, if they know they're literally stepping into a beatdown here. Now anybody can say, well, anything could happen. Let's be honest. We know in high school football, that's usually not the case. There's going to be the occasional upset, but come on now.
Yeah, this is like whenever someone's like had a couple and they step up to the biggest guy in the bar. Instead of having the option to just go over with their friends, they're automatically put in a cage with the guy and say, congratulations, we're getting to feed you to the wolves tonight.
That's the guy that only had a couple. That's all it took for him?
Yeah, only had a couple.
And if you're the guy that only had a couple and you're like, I'm ready to fight, nah, you're that guy. There's going to be that guy.
There is going to be that guy, and unfortunately it's going to be the team with not a lot of wins. Stepping up to behemoths in A. I mean, you go up through it, there's just going to be a lot of teams that are going to be just fed to slaughter, and you hate that because there's a lot of programs that are still just trying to get their feet off the ground. And the main thing is there's a lot of teams where all of this is a multi-year process because whenever you get a new head coach in, you have to lay the groundwork to then move your way through high school football. And I will say, and I know I keep referring back to this, but that's how Pawnee worked for about a solid 2-3 years. It was a tough time trying to build things and trying to figure out a system. But now it's several years in a row with the game that Coach Cook has over there in Pawnee. It can run through a lot of people. And if this is how it's going to be set up, and Pawnee will be laid up against a lot of teams that they might most likely will be able to roll through, you can see them go through a lot of people, and that leads to maybe, again, another potential chance for COVID, another potential chance of injury. So I can understand why you want to do it. I'm just not in favor of it.
Yeah, I'm not either, to be completely honest. I don't think a lot of people really are or will be when they get this news. But again, that is where we sit, and obviously official word coming in tomorrow is what we're getting as well. So that's your update with Oklahoma State high school football. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out for some of these teams, no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
Let's look at Oklahoma State football since, as of now, all good. Where we got past the no Baylor game, and that sucked, and we had to go a whole nother week. But so far, good to go with Iowa State. Oklahoma State just released their latest COVID numbers. How about a big fat 0?
Woo.
A big fat 0 on all athletics for Oklahoma State.
Yes,
That's
sir.
what you want to see starting this week, right?
I'll tell you one thing. This past week, I'm going to be honest, has been very weird without Oklahoma State football. I somewhat enjoyed it and somewhat have it because whenever Oklahoma State football goes on, all of the chaos that goes around here, it gets kind of crazy. But you love it when the game happens. You love getting to see all these kids go out there and play at their top tier, and especially with Oklahoma State ranking in the top in the nation on defense, and a lot of these guys truly getting a lot better. And the extra week, everybody's sitting here like, man, this just doesn't feel right, because now going into this week against Iowa State, you're going to have to try to reestablish some momentum from not playing. I'll basically call it 3 weeks, because by the time you get to Iowa State, it's been 3 weeks.
21 days.
Yeah, it's been 21 days since they've done anything. And so now we're sitting here like, wow, it's been so long since they played football, almost a month. And so now they're going to have to try to put those pieces back together and try to see if they can keep that momentum going. But honestly, this could turn out to be a kind of a blessing for Oklahoma State, especially with the reports out that it seems like Spencer Sanders is going to be, if then close to 100%.
Mm-hmm.
That could be amazing, especially with how Shane Illingworth has progressed. You could either see Spencer Sanders take over, or maybe you have it be like a 1A, 1B type scenario.
Yeah, and then we'll get into that here in a bit, because Mike Gundy did talk about that, so there's kind of an interesting storyline to get into there. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Oklahoma State moving up to number 6 in the latest rankings, with North Carolina losing over the weekend to Florida State. By the way, in heartbreaking fashion, okay, I'm sitting there watching the end of that game, and Sam Howell has a 4th down, wide open running back past the sticks, hits him right off his hands. Ooh. Right off his hands, it drops, and they lose to Florida State. It's like, wow, that was really tough. So they blew it. That was their best chance of the year.
That's got to hurt so much.
You get these teams that keep moving up, because you had the Big Ten knocked out so far, and they haven't had the official rankings come out for them where they should. We know from wins and losses, that type of thing. Mm-hmm. Now we will coming up after this week. So Oklahoma State gets to enjoy this number 6 spot coming into this week against number 17 Iowa State. So you get a top 25 matchup there, which will be a lot of fun, no doubt. There's going to be some fireworks in this ball game. I'm absolutely sure of that too. But this is a chance for Oklahoma State, as you said, to come out after this time off. And there's been a lot of talk of, will there be rust, or will this be a team that will come off and the defense will still look really good, the offense will start clicking because Spencer Sanders is supposed to be back? But I don't know. Do you see Oklahoma State coming in here and maybe it takes a series or two, or are they going to come out and it's like, you know what, we've been ready. We're ready to go.
If they've been practicing this whole time, which, I mean, knowing Mike Gundy, they have. They've been probably practicing their tail end off, and I could honestly understand. Majority of these guys are probably angry. And here's the thing.
They were.
Oh, yeah, they're probably ticked off that they couldn't get to play. And I know probably a lot of the majority of kids at Baylor were ticked off they didn't get to play as well. But, I mean, that's just how things work out. And so now you most likely have a healthier but also angrier Oklahoma State team. oh boy, I'm sorry, Iowa State, you're going to get the bad end of the stick here. And I think they're going to roll into this with a lot of momentum, even though they've basically been, it's like whenever you ice a kicker. You think the majority of the time it's going to turn out bad for the kicker. But no, this is like you're icing Justin Tucker. That's what it's like.
So this could really be a good situation of a healthy, angry team. I like that mix. Healthy and angry.
And that's like if you make Aaron Rodgers mad.
Yeah, which we found out yesterday that maybe it wasn't so much mad. It was just what kind of a wake-up call for him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, it'll be also good if you don't have the offensive line of the Green Bay Packers.
Well, that would certainly help as well. And that's one of the questions we have with Oklahoma State, too, because this is one of their toughest assignments so far this year, right? Iowa State.
Oh, yeah. Toughest, if not the toughest.
That defense is legit.
That defense in Iowa State is amazing. Brock Purdy, if you can get him going, oh no, this could be bad. It's the biggest test for Oklahoma State on both the offensive and defensive side. And that's weird because you think you'd be talking about Texas, you think you'd be talking about Oklahoma, but both of those teams have shown they're kind of frauds this year.
Not in 2020.
Not in 2020, which it's weird that Oklahoma State is one of the big dogs this year. But I've always been on the gas of, if Iowa State can ever put it together, they are going to be scary in the Big 12. And it looks like so far, Matt Campbell and all of them putting it together, it's going to be a head case.
Yeah, and I like Breece Hall a lot, too.
Oh, Breece Hall's amazing.
He's a stud running back, and I think he's going to play on Sundays for sure someday here, really, and it's going to be good in the NFL. But when you look at this difference in what Oklahoma State was preparing for, which was Baylor, which is, we're not saying that Baylor was just a walkover, because we know that they're can be a salty team at times. When you look at Iowa State and you compare them, it's a little different. We're saying, okay, we were prepping for Baylor here. It was on the road. Now we got to switch it up, and it's at home, but it's Iowa State, who's a little bit more competitive than Baylor, so the mindset switches, which if they come out there, and that's one of the things I give credit to the coaching staff for, is keeping these guys focused, because, as you said, they were clearly upset. This would have been a time where it would have been really easy to lose the focus of, we were on a roll. We were 3-0. We're the best team in the Big 12 ranked right now.
Oh, yeah.
And we're coming into this Baylor to prove it on the road, and then just gets ripped out from under you. Now you have to adjust for 2 more weeks.
Oh, yeah, and the main thing that is pretty nice to see is, like you were saying, them keeping them under control, keeping them focused, because sometimes for Oklahoma State, and I've said this several times, in the past, what they do is they kind of get up on a high horse, big chest, and be like, oh yeah, we're doing so great. We're Oklahoma State. We're doing great. And then the next game, they just get knocked off easy. And with the way this team is this year, it seems like it's completely different. It's almost Bill Belichick-ish. It's, okay, we did good. On to the next game. We're gonna do even better the next game. Here's some flaws right here. And I think that you have to put that down to the coaching staff. Jim Knowles, Mike Gundy, Casey Dunn, all of them, and what they've been doing. I think that's why this Oklahoma State team just feels a little different.
Yeah, and that's the mindset that you want. I mean, we see the most successful teams at any level, they don't dwell on the victories too long. It's always on to the next, on to the next. So, and that's, like you said, we've kind of seen that with OSU, but I think it's also a big testament to the coaching staff as well as the players.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen these zero COVID numbers. That's great.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we were talking about discipline right now with these guys, and maybe what they saw with Baylor again, too, was even more of a wake-up call. They're like, look, it was a whole position group for them. If it can happen to them, it can happen to us, right? So it's one of those. But that's where you want to model it off of right now. Other teams looking at what OSU's bringing to the table in terms of these numbers. I mean, that I can't give enough credit, because we sat here all offseason, talked about, and still into it, how tough it is for some of these guys. Like, and I completely get it, right? You're in school. I mean, you get it. It's not easy. And these guys right here have to be drilled in their head. Look, it's Oklahoma State. You guys are 3-0. We have look at what happened to OU. Look what happened to Texas. We have a real shot here, but a lot of it's going to depend on if you guys can do your part, and they've done it right now.
Oh yeah, and with that, you also got to think about, also look at some of these other teams in non-conference play. They weren't prepared, and they got knocked out by several teams that you're sitting there like, how could you do that?
Exactly.
So you got to look at yourself and be like, all right, we've been doing great so far, but the job is not done. Because here's the thing, if Oklahoma State can continue at this pace, and it's weird to say this, Oklahoma State could legitimately see themselves in the national title hunt, which some people, I've heard the things about some people like, oh, maybe you just want to go to a New Year's Six Bowl instead of, going and trying to get for a national title. Well, I'll be honest, this might be Oklahoma State's truly only opportunity to do that in the next couple of years.
That's what I'm saying.
Because there's going to be a lot of guys leaving to go for the NFL draft, and you're going to need to find some new guys to prove themselves. This is the time to capitalize.
That's why I think every move, coaching to, is magnified.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much more riding on every single decision, in-game, out-game, because of the situation Oklahoma State finds themselves in with the rest of the Big 12. So they need to capitalize on this right now. Like you said, this could be the best chance they get.
Oh, yeah, because everywhere else it seems like the Big 12 is pretty young. There's a lot of guys still trying to figure things out along the way. You still have, of course, some of your veterans here and there, but a lot of teams just feel really young. Oklahoma State, it's a team full of veterans. It's a team full of guys that truly just don't care about what's going on in your situation. All they care about is a W and watching your quarterback on the ground.
That's right, and that's what we like to hear and see.
Oh, yes, sir.
When we come back, we will get into a little bit of what Mike Gundy had to say today about Iowa State. A lot of praise going to them, rightfully so. We'll talk about that, as well as get our reaction to what happened in Week 6 in the NFL, what we learned from some of these teams. 2 big games coming up tonight, one in 30 minutes and one in a few hours. We'll talk about that. Patrick Wheeler and Levi Peckinpah in the afternoon sports drive coming up next.
Been a too long time with no peace of mind. I'm ready for the times to get better.
Welcome back, Afternoon Sports Drive, Triple Play Sports Radio Network. Patrick Wheeler and Levi Peckinpah on a Monday.
Yes, sir.
What's going on, man? We keep wrapping it up here, rocking on, and as I said, it feels like you were just swinging in right with me from Friday. Here we're back on Monday.
Hey, we got to give him the great content.
No days off.
No days off.
No days off.
Never. Please give me a day off.
If you're in this, please give me a day off.
Please, I need some time to nap, man.
If I don't get it, you don't get it, okay? That's the rule. That's the rule.
I don't like that rule.
I'm going to implement it.
I need new rules.
All right, well.
Or are there no rules?
Rules are meant to be broken, so.
Oh, that is the rule.
I left the door open for you.
That's the golden rule.
That's exactly right. Hey, we got a lot to get to here before I get you out of here in this first hour with college football as well as the NFL. I'm kind of getting jittery here 30 minutes away from Chiefs game time. It's just how I am, man. I mean, people hear that and they're like, "Where's the Chiefs? You know, they don't lose that often. What are you worried about?" It's like it's game day, man.
I mean, yeah, even though you guys won the Super Bowl, I would still be scared at every moment. Here's the thing, since I'm a Cowboys fan, I just get disappointed.
Hey, I've been a Chiefs fan all my life, so I understand the disappointment.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Well, think about it. Before the Super Bowl victory, it was constantly getting up really high, getting close to the playoffs, and then just an early exit, and you're sitting here like, why does this happen? Alex Smith trying to figure it out. He did play decent for you guys, and then Patrick Mahomes got here, and then everybody's been saying, oh, bye Alex Smith.
He's a distant memory now.
But please get better always, Alex
right,
Smith.
exactly. It's one of those things where you have people still rooting for him in every single thing that he does, and especially his comeback story, which was just truly incredible. The fact that he even got back on the field.
Yeah, Alex Smith just seems like a genuine good person.
He legitimately is.
Yeah, even though maybe as a franchise he didn't have a lot of success to the terms that you wanted, he was still a really good quarterback there in Kansas City, and you wish him all the best of luck. Even as a Dallas guy, I respect the heck out of Alex Smith, and I think he's a decent quarterback, not right now, but during his time he was really good. So I always wish the best of luck for him, and I wish the best of luck for any player, but that was a terrible situation right there. But you guys kind of got lucky by getting Patrick Mahomes, and now you're sitting here like, the future is ours, baby.
It was an opportunity for the Chiefs that, first of all, knew who they wanted, but it was also teams in front of them that were just dumb.
Oh,
like
yeah,
you
exactly.
had the Bears that just royally screwed up.
Yeah, exactly. Your team was the Chiefs were just sitting here watching the Bears and all these other teams taking.
Wait, really?
You're like,
really?
Okay, I'll take Patrick Mahomes.
He's still there, and he's still there.
Yeah, you let him go under Alex Smith and get some of that great knowledge. Because if you want some knowledge from anybody, Alex Smith is the guy to get it from. And then roast under the Andy Reid system.
Yeah.
It was the perfect, like, marinating a good steak.
Yeah.
And then bow.
Yeah.
And it was just
it was like a crock pot, like simmer. Let it simmer. And it's exactly we're seeing the NFL right now. Jordan Love's doing the same thing with Aaron Rodgers. Mm-hmm. They're getting Tua the same opportunity under Fitzmagic. I mean, it's all over the place. These young QBs are learning this invaluable information. And in a way, Jameis Winston, who has that experience, but he gets to sit behind Drew Brees. Mm-hmm. And it's like they're just getting to soak all this in. And don't tell me that's not going to help them in the future.
Oh, that's going to be very great. And I know people hated on the Jordan Love move, even me for half a second, but then I realized That's a double-edged sword that I would love to be playing with, because you get all the knowledge from Aaron Rodgers, who is one of the best quarterbacks of all time, and then you also get to make Aaron Rodgers mad, which makes him an even better quarterback. That's
It just does. It just does.
Yeah, and then he can go out and do the key and pill.
Well, and it looked great at the time, and then he got steamrolled after that. So.
Yeah, and then he said here like, oh.
He might never do that celebration again.
Now, he'll do it again. When do they have bye week?
That's a good question. I have to look. Wait, they never did? How did bye week?
Oh, yeah, they already had bye week. So he's going to do that one more time when they actually win next week.
Okay, all right, that's fair.
And I would also like that to be moved to Devontae Adams as well and Aaron Jones. They just all continuously do it.
Okay, and then like a conga line, I'm down. I like that. Yeah, we're going to get to that game here in just a minute. First,
Conga line would be a dope celebration.
I think it would be. Get behind, got the hands on the hips, you're doing the whole, maybe Fox even puts in a little conga music in the background.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
They're sitting on a gold mine there. For Oklahoma State today, we finally got a chance to hear Mike Gundy when he usually talks. So he was back in on Monday this morning. And a question was thrown to him about having two quarterbacks basically that are capable of starting at this point. And I think that's a fair question because Shane Illingworth has shown that he has that ability. Obviously, the Kansas game, he did what he was supposed to do when he got that start. And when you look at Spencer Sanders being able to come back in, because as Mike put a few times, look, he's been pretty much good to go for the last couple of weeks, but we just want to make sure and didn't have to rush him, obviously, against Kansas, which I was totally in favor for.
Oh, yeah. He was good to go, but not like 100% good to go. He wasn't going to be able to give you his greatest effort, but he was going to able to give you a good enough effort. So sitting him against Kansas, and then now getting these past couple of weeks to officially get healed up, that was the smart move by Mike Gundy.
Oh no, I completely agree, and that's where I said that I figured he would go. It made sense but no one expected an extra week, obviously, with Baylor. You get that thrown on top of it. Spencer comes in basically here. He's going to be 1,000% healthy by this point, okay? Now, he said today that they're splitting the reps. They have been for a while with him and Shane, and then Bullock's the third string. So, but when you split those reps between those guys, it immediately starts fueling the fire of, oh my gosh, we got the QB controversy. Who's going to start? Is it going to be week in and week out type thing? And I just want to keep reiterating what I've said with Spencer here and see what you think about it too, because I still believe this is his job. He's going to come in and get the start against Iowa State. But bottom line, Shane has shown just enough that the leash has been shortened on Spencer. And even if Mike Gundy were to ultimately pull the trigger on him, it may not be just oh my gosh, dude, you're playing terrible. It's one of those things that people have to realize that the entire season is hinge on every single decision here. So if he looks at it and he's feeling to himself, maybe at this point Shane gives us the best chance to win, and that could be mid-game, that could be after a quarter, that could be down the road a few games, that could never happen still. All of those options are being thrown out there. But if Spencer comes out, Mike Gundy's singing some things he doesn't quite like, and to me the leash is just shorter here because you give him that opportunity and you kind of let him know. I mean, in a way, you maybe by splitting the reps still, you're kind of letting him know that look, Shane's here, and Shane even has said already, we saw it, that Spencer's our guy, and you want to hear that from him. He knows who's the number one at this point. But at the same time, he also knows he has to be a lot more ready than he ever was in the past.
Why does my brain think this situation is so similar from Alabama when they had Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa?
Yeah.
That automatically just strikes a chord in my brain that while it should inevitably still be Spencer's job, which I think he's earned the right to, especially with everything that he put in last year and barely had, a handful of snaps already against Tulsa. And Tulsa's turned out to have one of the better defenses in the nation. But Spencer's barely even gotten an opportunity. It should still be his job. But, yeah, he's got a short leash. If things start going the wrong way, you might have to be as ruthless as Nick Saban was with Jalen Hurts and say, I got to let you go. Here's Shane Illingworth, because Shane Illingworth has played better than I think at least the coaches have expected. There's always Oklahoma State hype around players. Whether it's warranted or not warranted, there is always hype around players. And I will say Shane Illingworth, I think, has been playing really well and has done a good job in what he was supposed to be. The one thing he was truly supposed to be was a game manager, and it feels like he's done that and more. He's been able to give you a little bit more than what the package was priced at. So he's been playing really well, and say with Spencer Sanders, it's not going to be like after the first or second series, like if there's 2 series and everybody's like,
right.
Spencer Sanders, what in the world? Bench him. No, you're going to give him at least, I'd say 1, 2, 2.5 quarters. If things don't work out by then, that's when you go, if you're down by a couple touchdowns, you're like, okay, this is not what we wanted to happen.
Because you have to manage that fine line of not getting too far down and at the same time not making a decision too early. But you're asking Spencer, come off this injury, but at the same time we need to see a pretty solid performance here because and not to put any pressure on you, but we've got a guy waiting in the chutes. Moment.
And the thing is also is this game, it's not against a Baylor, it's not against a Tech, a TCU. You're going up against is Oklahoma State. They're ranked number. What number are they ranked?
Number 6 right now in the
number
country.
6. Yeah. When you're at the top and you're looking at number 17,
number
Iowa
17.
State. You're looking at a team that's basically number 2 behind you in the Big 12.
Exactly.
And you're sitting there like, if this was a team where you weren't expected to, like, you were expected to go through and sweep, you'd be okay. But it's Iowa State that's basically breathing down your neck. If you lose, most likely Iowa State's jumping probably in the top 10. They're probably going to take close to where your spot was. So you got to be able to step up. And if not, Matt Campbell and Brock Purdy will be willing to jump on you because they truly, almost every other opportunity, they've had a hard time capitalizing. But Oklahoma State, who's still trying to figure out things at the quarterback spot, if they don't get it figured out, I think Brock Purdy and them will finally want that opportunity and have that opportunity to capitalize on.
Yeah, and you're just hoping that it's the Iowa State team that showed up in week 1, right, against Louisiana.
You're hoping the usual Iowa State team that shows up where it's, and this is how it's been for the past couple seasons, you get all the hype from Iowa State, Brock Purdy, Matt Campbell, they're going to step up, and they end up basically tripping over themselves and falling to a mid-tier team in the Big 12. That's what's happened, and you're going to want to hope that's the team that shows up where Brock Purdy's not having a great time putting it together. But the main thing is, while you're having that quarterback conundrum there, it's mainly also trying to see if that defense is still going to be on fire. Rodarius Williams is going to need to continue to be great. After A.J. Green left it and went to the league, Rodarius Williams has stepped up at every opportunity, even then some.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. He was a guy that people dogged on. And now everybody's sitting here like, can we get some more, please?
Right, yeah, let's walk that back.
And that's just the thing at almost every position everywhere. There's been some spots where it's been questioned, there's been concerns, but all these players with the coaching staff, they've been able to ignore all of the negativity and continue to go out there and prove at every opportunity. So I think even though Spencer Sanders has so much pressure on him, I truly don't think he cares. I think he's ready to just go out there and play football.
I think that's about the right way to look at it too, because of what happened so early on. You know, it's basically him saying, "Look, 2 pass attempts." It's like I didn't even get a chance to show what I have coming into this year, and this to me is basically the start of his season against Iowa State. Is basically let me kick off my season right here, try to get a full workload in with these receivers, with my running backs, which are both playing very, very well. And by the way, even if I don't come out blazing hot, I have a defense that I am, at this point, 100% confident in, can give me the ball back very quickly. That being said, though, one of the questions also thrown to Gundy today was, can this team in this week against Iowa State rely on the defense to ultimately get them in this, and keep them in this game and get a victory? And while Mike was kind of like, yes, but at the same time trying to remind his defense, look, don't get the heads too big, because that's when you start messing up, when you start letting off. But as you said, and he said today, by the way they've practiced, they've looked really good. They've on defense, they're flying around, they're still making plays, they're confident but not cocky. So when you put all that together, I think it bodes well for Oklahoma State in terms of if Brock Purdy comes in and he's looking really good, and Breece Hall's running the football really well, but the defense can get you a stop here and there, which you're taking what could be, honestly, if Iowa State would click on all cylinders, which they kind of did against Texas Tech before they had their off week. if they bring that offense into this defense of Oklahoma State, it's going to be a crazy battle.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be it's going to be a great battle. This is the Big 12 game, truly might be of the season, where you finally get these two teams that right now are at the pinnacle and at the best play in the Big 12. And everybody should be excited. I know there was always that hype around Red River rivalry, always the hype around Bedlam. But this is the game right now in the Big 12 because it's weird to say, this could be the game that you might be seeing later on for the Big 12 title. And it's weird to say because usually you have an OU or you have a Texas, but these two contenders look at some points legit. And so this could be a fun preview to see of what can come out of these two teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, we'll get much more into that this whole week. Levi will have more on that tonight. Don't forget to check out his show at 8 o'clock on the O'Cauley student section, 8 to 10 p.m. here on the Triple Play Sports Radio Network. When we come back, we're going to get into a little bit of NFL action. The Chiefs kick off in 15 minutes.
Start getting scared.
Start getting scared? No, it's more just like anxious.
I hope you guys steamroll the Bills.
Look, if the Bills come out like they did against the Titans, it's over. They got to come out better than that, no doubt.
You're talking about practice.
Talk about practice. They got to come out here and actually talk about games.
And then they got to talk about playoffs.
It's like get the hot buttons. I didn't get the hot buttons.
Come on.
I know.
You had the weekend.
I know.
We had another bye week. You didn't get the hot buttons.
I'm running out of excuses. I had the bye week too. Unbelievable. I dropped the ball. When we come back, we'll get into the NFL next.
You can call till your voice is running out, but I can't hear you now. I can't hear you now. I'm somewhere far away where you can't bring me down, so I can't hear you now. I can't hear you now. Yeah. Run it back.
Welcome back to the Afternoon Sports Drive here on the Triple Play Sports Radio Network. Patrick Wheeler and Levi Peckinpah hanging out on this Monday as we wrap up the first hour and we get into kind of some things that we learned from Week 6 in the NFL. A lot of good action, and there were some games up front that were kind of the lower tier teams playing the lower tier teams. And then you had, obviously, the game of the week it was supposed to be, at least with the Bucs and the Packers there at the 3 o'clock. And then two really good games tonight. Last night's game also maybe not living up to all the hype, but still had some pluses.
I've got a question that nobody's going to say because I think we all know the answer. Can the Miami Dolphins escape with a wild card spot?
You know what? I think we should start our discussion there because... Look, we take with the Jets. Well, we can only take so much away from it. Mm-hmm. But Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's right now playing even above the expectations that we would have for him in Week 5.
He is playing Fitzmagical.
Yeah, and through Week 5 and Week 6, he's still keeping it going, which is maybe a little past what we're used to with him. It's usually around this time we're starting to see the fall off, and I think it was around this time too where I said Tua would probably start taking over. Now, he got in yesterday because of the blowout late and got his first couple of completions in the NFL, which was cool to see. And the picture afterwards was cool to see. He's sitting there at the 15-yard line by himself taking it all in. That was kind of cool. But that game, let me start with that. The Jets, okay, I'm sitting, it's the only other game on with the Bucs and the Packers in the 3 o'clock slot. So I've got it on. And the Jets just literally looked worse with every play, especially offensively. Like they just, and defensively too, but offensively literally cannot get anything done at all. And Adam Gase is the biggest joke of a head coach. The fact that he's still there is just incredibly mind-blowing to me. Okay? But what I have figured out too is I said this with Ryan Tannehill. It could be the case with Le'Veon Bell. Who knows? It's been the case with Kenyon Drake. It's kind of been the case with Jarvis Landry. But look at some of the guys that have, as I like to put it, escaped Adam Gase's clutches here. And Ryan Tannehill has flourished since then. But it's not just the Jets being bad. It's Adam Gase literally ruining players and not giving them the opportunity. There's a part of me that thinks Sam Darnold might be a lot better than any of us would ever know, but we might never know because he's on the Jets.
He's had so many moments of just, like, it's very surreal. He's actually had moments of brilliance. And you'd think, Sam Darnold, moments of brilliance? Yeah.
It's true.
He's actually had some great moments. It would be the Jets versus Broncos whenever he had, like, that 40-yard rush.
Yep.
And you're sitting there like,
Right.
How is this part of an Adam Gase system? And then you realize, oh no, that's just Sam Darnold's talent.
It's true. It's there. And we've seen some of the throws he's made. It's like, imagine if they actually open that up a little bit.
Yeah, imagine if with that system, instead of Jamison Crowder being a number 1, he would be like a number 2 or a better slot guy. Jamison Crowder is a good wide receiver. Chris Herndon is a good tight end. That offensive line, I found the trash can outside. He could block better for Sam Darnold. The defense is so hurt, or it's just in a terrible spot, especially with C.J. Mosley sat out because of COVID, so that's a bad situation. Avery Williamson is trying to do his best. Avery Anderson also watched the game, and he said, I don't want to watch a Jets game anymore. There's so many bad spots on this squad. Part of it, I mean, the majority of it is all Adam Gase's fault.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
It's not even, like, to watch, you can't even go, haha, that's funny anymore. It's just, like, painful to watch.
It's sad.
Yeah, it is. It's really sad.
It's like whenever whenever we used to have to watch, if you watched NBA, watching the Charlotte Hornets, you sat there like, not Charlotte Hornets, Charlotte Bobcats.
Right.
That was sad.
Yeah.
This is that version of sad because the Jets most likely are going to end up with the first pick.
Oh, yeah.
And here's the thing.
I think they've got that locked up.
And they're wanting to set it up to where they get Trevor Lawrence. If I'm Trevor Lawrence, if the Jets have the number 1 pick, I am staying in the NCAA for another year. I will never touch the field for the New York Jets. Do the same thing. What was it? Was it Eli Manning who did the exact same thing?
The Chargers, yep.
And I would not want...
Yeah.
I would never dare touch the field for the New York Jets.
I wouldn't either. I at this point, too, it's like, I don't even care what you pay me. Like, you are not going to ruin my career, because we've talked about that starting off your career is so important in the NFL, especially for quarterbacks, those first couple of years of development.
Yeah.
And you can't develop with the Jets.
Yeah, because I feel sorry for Sam Darnold. I don't even know if the Jets would take Trevor Lawrence if they have Sam Darnold there.
They'd probably find a way to not.
Yeah.
Right?
Which, I mean, because Sam Darnold hasn't been given the fair shake. That's the main thing that I don't think people will ever take away from this situation. Sam Darnold has not gotten a fair shot in the NFL because he's been with the New York Jets. And I've said on several times that the Washington football team is one of the worst ran organizations. Somehow the Jets are looking worse. And the football team has been through several scandals recently.
Didn't know that was possible, but it is.
How do you look worse than the Washington football team?
How exactly is my question as well. It's really, really bad. But let's stay in that division, because speaking of bad, how bad did the Patriots look yesterday?
Yeah, that was terrible.
This is just unbelievable.
Which I'm going to chalk it up to a lot of things that involve the COVID. I think there's part of it system-wise, still trying to get everything figured out. Cam Newton not giving the fair shake. But, I mean, a lot of these guys haven't had a fair chance of actually practicing. And like we're saying, you talk about practice. But in the NFL, you need a lot of practice so that way you can get down these schemes, get down everything you need to do. And in a Bill Belichick system, it's pretty rigorous.
Yeah.
Trying to go through everything is very tough, and especially for a guy like Cam Newton, the way he's built and missing a lot of time due to COVID, that's going to take a toll. And even though it was to a Denver Broncos team, Drew Lock coming back, that definitely helps out a lot. You finally get your young quarterback back. That was just a combo for the Patriots to lose. And for me not to get my pick, I need to take a lead over you somewhere in these picks, because I think we're either one of us is going to lead by 1 point or most likely tying this week.
I think that's about right, and I can't remember which pick. I'll have to look and then double check. But
I swear, I thought it was Carolina versus Chicago.
This doesn't sound right. I'll have to double check for sure.
Actually, that might be a perfect lead-in. Carolina versus Chicago.
Oh, man, they and Chicago. Look, here's the thing: 5-1. But as you and I agree, worst 5-1 team, right? Easily.
Worst.
I mean, but they're winning games, which I'll give them credit. And Carolina came in as they were overachieving everywhere, really. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater still looks good. Now, yesterday he was hurried a ton. He didn't get to get all his receivers involved.
It also hurts whenever you're going up against guys like Khalil Mack, Akeem Hicks, Eddie Goldman.
Oh, yeah.
Just attacking you 24/7. You're sitting here like, help me, please.
It's one of those situations where your defense is so good that you can be Nick Foles at this point and still get wins, you know?
Yeah, just like, it would have been the Chicago Bears whenever they went to the Super Bowl, like in the 80s, whenever it was a Brian Urlacher-led team, whenever that defense was so great and you're sitting here, oh, man, this defense is amazing. And then you look, oh, wait, your quarterback No, that's not going to take you far.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, hey, if you want to stick around with me a little bit through the second hour, you can do that.
I got you. I got nothing going on.
Let's start off the second hour. We'll finish up our NFL talk, and I'll let you go. How about that?
Hey, sounds great.
All right, we'll get into that. We'll go. I want you to hear the what Nick Foles had to say as well after his win. We got to talk about what he said. It's pretty great. And get into the Bucs and Packers. We finally saw the Packers kind of look like the old Packers. Like, wow, this team actually has some flaws, right? We saw that. And, of course, we'll get into the Chiefs are 10 minutes away. And I can't let you go without getting an official Cowboys preview / prediction from you, because it's first game with no Dak. It's Andy Dalton versus Kyler Murray.
Oh, boy. I'm not feeling safe.
Oh, man, that's all. That's what you're going to tease it in.
I need help.
Levi needs help. I'm going to get him some here over the break. We'll come back and wrap it up here in the second hour of the afternoon sports drive after this.
I don't wanna wait for our life to be over. You have it, but you take it how you left it. This is give and take. Take your time, take me under.
Welcome back.
I want
I love that intro, right? That song
I'm
is
telling you.
perfect for the intro, man.
This was the same thing last Friday. When
know.
day comes on, I'm vibing.
You can steal it if you want, okay?
I might have to. But then again, I've been getting a couple great songs for Tom
Yeah.
on the Sunday
Oh,
Sunday
yeah.
Night
Oh,
Jukebox.
yeah. Good stuff, as always, Tom.
Another self-promotion. which
That's all that matters.
Yeah, which this Sunday he's going to be doing groups. So several groups. I mean, like the obvious, like Queens, Rolling Stones. You can hear various ones like that. But I've thrown a couple of curveballs to Tom over these past couple weeks, and this one he really enjoyed. I showed him last night what I got for him, and he was very excited.
Good. Well, if you can make Tom excited, you're doing the right thing.
Oh, yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, because there's only a few things that can actually get him all excited.
Yeah, and Oklahoma State that's one of them. I think sometimes it just makes him even madder. it just makes him even more mad. And well, I guess the Dallas losing that's what makes him happy.
Is what I was going to tell you. He likes that.
Which for update for each one of y'all, because of course we go on and say our picks. I have updated my Dallas versus Arizona pick because we did the math during the break. I am down 1.
And you want to tell him which pick you got wrong this week?
Yeah, I got, and this might go into what we talk about next. It was Pittsburgh versus Cleveland, which I feel like it was all right to take the Cleveland Browns, especially them rolling over the past couple weeks, and they've been doing really well. Yeah, that didn't happen as the Pittsburgh Steelers. Wow.
I think I even said when you made the pick, okay, I don't completely fault you for it, but oh my goodness, that turned out really bad from start to finish as the Chiefs officially kick off, and Buffalo will start with the ball. See how they can move it first here.
Was Butker the one that was doing the kickoff right there? Because it looked like he kicked and then almost like front flipped himself.
Yeah, that was him. I think it's like misty and it's rainy in Buffalo. It looks pretty slick out there. Yeah, you can look at that weather right there. That's not ideal. However, Patrick Mahomes did say he plays better in the snow last year. So. Oh
yeah, that's true, and especially up there in Buffalo, where even though it's like 40 here, like 45 here, up there you got to imagine it's cold. It's probably like, well, since I'm sitting right here, I'll actually look at the weather up in Buffalo. But like right now, it's okay. It's going back slowly into the 50s. But I mean, I can't imagine up there in Buffalo right now.
Josh Allen has his hands in the hand warmer, and he's making sure those start off nice and toasty on his first pass of the game, which goes incomplete. So that's a good start right there.
That's okay. It's not bad up there. It's 48, but there's chances of rain.
Yeah, that's what we're seeing. It's just really misty and nasty up there in Buffalo.
Yeah, and it's supposed to get worse as the game goes on.
Well, this could be a sloppy one. I was going to say, and I did say it Saturday or Friday, to hit the over in this one, as I think you did too. Mm-hmm. It was at 55. Now, this weather could have something to do with it. Could not. We can still see these two teams really come out and score a lot of points, especially if the Chiefs' defense plays like it did last week and Buffalo's did against Tennessee.
Oh, yeah, and if Clyde Edwards-Helaire wants to make a statement before Le'Veon Bell gets here, I mean, yeah, you could definitely see everything just crank up a little bit.
Yeah, I completely agree. Is because Clyde is coming into this, what's most likely his last real game is the workhorse back.
Oh, yeah.
Because Le'Veon's going to be coming in next week. Can't go today, obviously, with the COVID and all that stuff that he has to get through, precautions. But he will be good to go against Denver and then New York, the Jets afterwards, which will be fun, obviously.
Yeah.
But you're right. This is a chance for Clyde to be like, look, I still need to be the guy.
Oh, yeah, the cowbell running back is now going to have to deal with another cow getting milked in the stable.
Did you think about that one on the way here?
Nope, I just thought about it while I sat down as I watched Josh Allen overthrow. Was that John Brown by like 5 yards?
Yeah, how do you overthrow John Brown?
I don't know.
You have to have the arm of Josh Allen. And here's his third pass, and it's incomplete. 3 and out.
Wow.
Go the Bills. That's not a good start offensively.
No, that is definitely not a good start, and you really hate to see that if you are Jordan Bishop. But besides that, I think everybody else might. Oh,
right in the helmet of John Brown.
Yeah.
Yikes! Should have had that one.
Yeah, that was right in the helmet. But I mean, Josh Allen was kind of on the run. There was already a Kansas City Chief defender just in his nachos right there.
Yeah, he really was. So the Chiefs will get the ball, start off their first drive here in just a minute. So when we talked about the Week 6 in the NFL, the Patriots and the Broncos, but it wasn't just the Patriots losing. It just was also happening on the same day that we saw Tom Brady and the Bucs steamroll the Packers, which inevitably led back to the conversation of who's won this breakup with Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, and it's really looking like it's in Tom Brady's favor right now. I never count Bill Belichick out because we all know that's the wrong thing to do, but I'm telling you, as you saw yesterday too, the Patriots, my goodness, it was, and the problem is, which Cam didn't play good yesterday.
Oh no,
I'll give him that.
No.
And I've been on here singing Cam's praises since the beginning of he's going to take over and dominate. And against Seattle, he looked awesome. He looked vintage Cam Newton. He was actually throwing to wide receivers. N'Keal Harry had a lot of catches. Julian Edelman said he's been in the league for 1,000 years, and he set a personal record in receiving yards that game. But this game, we got to see what happens when there is no depth at receiver. The Patriots, it's arguable they have the worst group of wide receivers out there.
Yeah.
It's really bad. N'Keal Harry's a bust. Julian Edelman's old, and no one else is stepping up. But that's also in part to where we looked at it this year and said the Patriots didn't get a good receiver. There was a lot of receivers in this draft, and they had an opportunity to grab one and didn't. And instead they focused on, which I think the whole plan at one point was to get Cam anyways from the get-go, but they are really lacking in that department.
And I think also when you looked at part of that draft, because if I remember right, it wasn't their first pick like Kyle Duggar. I think also the plan might be to eventually get Patrick Chung out with all those problems that he's been having, which is a lot of off the field issues. But with how everything was in the draft, you easily had the opportunity, even if it wasn't going to be like a prominent, big number one type of guy. I mean, just another solid guy would have been perfect.
It's just weird to say that the Patriots don't look threatening because they really don't. After that game, they don't scare anybody. To me, there's really no reason at all that the Broncos should have won that ball game. Drew Lock, he just came back. He didn't look all that good, though. They had 5 or 6 field goals.
2 interceptions by Drew Lock.
Yeah, and the last one was awful. Okay,
Yeah.
but they came in there. They managed to beat the Patriots without scoring an offensive touchdown. How does that happen? I mean, if that happens with the Patriots, you know something is wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that it's necessarily freak out mode yet, but I am starting to worry because the Bills are 4-1 and a legitimate team, because the Dolphins are trying to make a little bit of noise. This isn't just, oh my gosh, we can be run-of-the-mill anymore. No. This is the Patriots need to step up and make something happen now. But to me, it all starts with they want to run the ball. But they have to find a way to get it going through the air with Cam Newton. They just have to or they're done.
Before I get back to that, it's 2nd and 2 right there for the Kansas City Chiefs. Why aren't you running with Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
Have you heard me on this station ever before? As I've said with Clyde, and you know my problems with the Chiefs because it was 2nd and 2. We see him try to go deep sometimes on 2nd and short, but it's like we have a running back here, but oh my gosh, we better not use him because they might expect him to come. Who cares? Sometimes when it's on a 2nd and short, go for it on the ground.
And here's the thing: you have 2 great running backs. You have Damian Williams or you have Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Whichever one you want to go to.
There he goes. Well, Darrell Williams. Yeah. Damian opted out, but they're basically I get them mixed up sometimes.
You have all the Williams over there, so you have a lot of great players that can go out there and get you first downs.
Well, part of my Chiefs intro today was going to be, look, just run the damn ball. It.
Is that Darrell Williams?
That's Darrell Williams, and look, he gets a solid run and a first down.
See, I'm telling you, right there, it's 2nd and 2.
Yeah.
Don't be stupid.
I love Andy Reid, and I love the Chiefs offense, but sometimes I think they really do overthink things.
He needs to take that visor off his face and see what's going on the field.
That thing's going to get all cloudy today in the rain, like it did in week 1 with Houston.
Yeah, that was terrible. But going back to the New England Patriots, I like that scramble right there from Patrick Mahomes. It's weird. We're trying to do this while also watching the TV, but with the system that's over there in New England, I think just right now, there's so many problems right there in New England, whether it's the health of some people due to actual health reasons or COVID. There's so many problems going over there in New England, and it doesn't help that you had 8 players check out due to like COVID concerns.
Yeah, the defense, we knew that was maybe going to be questioned coming in. You lose 6 guys right off the defense alone.
And then you also lose Marcus Cannon, who was going to be your right tackle that was going to shore everything up over there. But now he's gone, so it's trying to fill in all these cracks, and it's a tough time. But I mean, right now Cam Newton's trying to do the best what he can do while having not a lot at wide receiver who's still trying to figure it out. I mean, Julian Edelman's going to give you a couple. N'Keal Harry still needs to figure it out.
I think he's a bust, man. I really do. I hate to say it.
I mean, there's potential there that it could be. And then Cam Newton, he just hasn't had the best opportunity to get everything together because, I mean, for a little bit of it, he's been out with COVID, which means missing practices. And missing practices means you're not getting in tune with the Bill Belichick system.
So would you would be okay with kind of saying that was maybe the reason why we saw him struggle, is coming off that? Or is it to you more of, oh my gosh, we have to remember what happened last year with the shoulder injury, and this is what people were afraid of, was he's going to come in here and maybe not be able to throw it as well. But to me, it was just really the footwork didn't look quite right. He wasn't able to connect with some guys. Just didn't look good. He looked really awkward, looked stale.
Like what we were joking about. Practice is actually important.
And maybe that really is it.
I mean, think about it. When you haven't had a course, and I go back to this, and we're already 5 weeks in now in week 6. You didn't get your preseason games in to get some reps in. He's missed a lot of practice because of everything involved with the COVID stuff. And I mean, because of that, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other players that haven't gotten a chance to get any practice in and get those reps in with Cam Newton.
So for you, are you hitting the panic button yet for the Patriots?
No, we're not even halfway through the season yet. I stand by. You can calm down on it. Everything will be okay. Just give it a little bit of time. I still wouldn't mind seeing the Dolphins in the wild card if that ends up happening.
I think it'd be a really sneaky wild card team, wouldn't you?
I need my man Preston Williams and Ryan Fitzmagic in the wild card, please.
Yeah, Preston Williams scored a touchdown this week.
Hey, that's right. We were right.
We were right.
For the caller. I hope you did. I hope you did put Preston Williams in there in your flex.
And then of course T. Higgins also had a really good week too. So it was kind of who you want to go with in that situation. I think we even said flip the coin, right?
Yeah, exactly. You can go heads or tails on that.
Yeah.
But Mike Gesicki, why?
Yikes.
Why?
He posted a big old fat goose egg.
Yeah, I know. He was on my team.
That's brutal. Hey, how about this stat? The Patriots are below 500 at this point in the season for the first time since 2002.
Wow.
18 straight years by week, 6, that they come in here and they're always above 500.
That's crazy.
That's why you get some people that maybe it's not freak out is the right word, but they are worrying because they've never been at this point.
You can be hesitant, but you got to realize also that it's Bill Belichick dealing with a new quarterback and truly a full-time new quarterback for the first time in 2 decades.
Yeah, you're right. It's just and then Cam and looked like he was going to be a nice fit, and I still think he is. There's just growing pains at this point in the season.
Oh, yeah. You're going to have to wait for the long-term effect. We give it a couple more weeks once we get into week 10, week 11, where that's when stuff's going to come down to the wire and see how Cam Newton truly performs.
No doubt. Let's go hit the phone lines. Caller on the afternoon sports drive.
All right, I've got a question for you guys.
Yep.
And just want your opinion on it because to me, I mean, I don't know if you could pull it off or if you could make it work. With the Jets, anything's possible. If I'm the Dallas Cowboys and you look at all the money that you're going to have to start spreading around that roster to make that team, if you want to try to be, in contention for a championship, I'm just saying I would try to see if I could free up, nothing against Dak, but free up the money that you're going to have to try to. I mean, I don't know what it is, but I mean, I'm sure it's north of $200 million. Free up all that money and try to trade Dak, who is an elite quarterback without question. That way, a team doesn't even have to worry about it. You go use your first round pick on a guy, you don't know 100% for sure that your guy, even Lawrence, you do not know if he is going to be 100% for sure an elite quarterback. But you get that elite quarterback, Dallas frees up that money, try to make that trade for that pick.
I want to say that every option is on the table at this point, and maybe it is. But as soon as Dak went down, and when I talked about it that next day, was the Cowboys saw in those 4 games, okay, he still has enough in the tank to kind of weigh it as, could we really do better here? And I think that they're looking at this as ultimately no, because it's going to end up swinging in Dak's favor either way. He's going to get franchise tag next year. I think that is where you're going to put 99% of your chips, because he'll get franchise tag for like $38 million, right? Made $31 million this year. So he ends up making around $70 million in a couple years on a couple franchise tags. Then at that point, you question, okay, do they go with it? Depends on what he does when he comes back healthy. So while I think that all these options and maybe even that one are on the table at this point, I just don't see that being the way that Jerry Jones wants to go out with Dak.
Yeah, plus knowing the Jets, since it is the number 1 overall pick, most likely, and since it would definitely be Trevor Lawrence, I think the Jets would also want more than just Dak Prescott. They'd probably try to see if they could jimmy out a couple more picks. But with how everything is, and with Dak hopefully being the guy for the future, I really can't see Dak Prescott going anywhere, at least right now. I think, Patrick, you're kind of right with the franchise tag is where it's going to go. And I mean, no matter what, it was going to be a lot of money. And at this point, with how he played this past season, I wouldn't mind the franchise tag, because the main thing for Dak is you're not getting the longevity that you wanted. You're gonna get the top tier money that you're wanting, but the longevity is the main thing that Dak really wants at this point. And since this injury, I know Jerry Jones, and honestly probably a lot of teams in the league, may not want to double down, and maybe the Jets may not want to go down on Dak because of the injury. Maybe they're a little skeptical about how things are, but you can't ignore the heart that he has. And with Dak's play this past season, he looked like the caller was saying, elite. The man was looking amazing. So maybe the Jets really want to go all in. But I think that injury truly hampers a lot of trades that if you want to do kind of like almost like a sign-in trade type of deal, or just straight trade off Dak for something, that's going to make it extremely hard.
Yeah, and I called a couple of weeks ago, and I was talking about it was during your picks, and I was talking about the Cleveland pick. Just somehow Vegas, it just didn't look right to me when Cleveland came out basically straight up against Indy. I think it was Indy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then last week, and I got busy. I was wanting to call you guys because after the way San Francisco got beat up by the Dolphins, I was all in on San Francisco straight up. And at worst case scenario, you could drop a little bit of money on the Rams and then hedge it by going straight up San Francisco, because you get more for your money taking them straight up. And, that way you're kind of have a little insurance policy there. But anyway, I wanted to call you guys and tell you that because I just felt that one coming after what is there's no way they're not San Francisco's not nearly as bad as they looked going from the West Coast all the way to the East Coast to play Miami. And I just thought getting them back in California, everybody's, because people, I don't know, it was too much of a blind spot. It happened too quickly. So hopefully this week I'll see something in one. I don't do very good if I go down the line, but sometimes I'll just see something in one pick and I'll try to throw one out there for you this week.
Yeah, sure. No, we appreciate it.
Well, anyhow, my main thing was I was curious about what you thought about if Dallas could, and I know the injury, you're right. The injury kind of just threw a wrench and all that.
It did.
And I just, part of it is, and I don't want anything bad to happen to Dak either. He seems like a great guy, but I also don't want to see Trevor Lawrence go to the Jets.
Oh, nobody wants to see Trevor Lawrence go to New York.
Including Trevor Lawrence.
No.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks. Yeah, no, Trevor Lawrence is, look, he has to consider his future with this decision. It needs to be either I will refuse to play for you guys, or I'll just go back in then for Clemson, and even if I played one game, I could still find a different team next year. It's one of those situations.
Oh, yeah. If the Jets are smart, and I've been saying this for so long to make sure Trevor Lawrence comes out this year, if the Jets are smart, they're trading that pick down and getting more picks. Like whenever Chicago traded up for the Rams pick, you're going down and you're going to get a lot more you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck out of that pick.
No, I completely agree.
There's several teams. I mean, if you say, hey, this pick is available, you're going to be having a bunch of vultures just pop out of it's the seagull scene from Finding Nemo.
Right.
Mine?
Exactly.
And they're going to go for that pick. I mean, Jacksonville would give up their whole world for Trevor Lawrence.
They might give up the entire franchise.
Yeah. They give up their pick. They give you DJ Chark. They would give you Tony Khan. They would give you Jacksonville logo. They'd sign it off.
That was the goal for them initially starting the season, and then you had coming out, Gardner Minshew was like, well, I'm actually going to play a little bit better than thought. So it's like, well, why'd you have to do that to start off? We could be as bad as the Jets.
Oh, yeah. If the Jets, they're smart, they go to Jacksonville, hey, like, give me your pick and give me DJ Chark, and you can have Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Cough it up right now.
Oh, man. Okay, Levi, before I let you go, give me your Cowboys score here. Do you have a score you can throw me? Because I know you picked Dallas now. So you got to get them in a winning situation here.
Ooh.
You picked him, but how confident are you tonight?
No, I'm not confident. I mainly did this so that way, in case I actually, it's basically I'm hedging my bets right here. I bet poorly for the Cleveland game, and I thought they were going to succeed. I was clearly wrong. But let's go with this. I'm trying to do the quick maths in my head. Give me Dallas 38-31.
38-31.
Because I'm seeing in this game, I think it's going to be a Zeke-heavy game.
Okay, I agree.
I think you're going to try to see something honestly similar to the Tennessee Titans. Run. Give me a play action here to CeeDee Lamb. Run, CeeDee Lamb. Run, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, and then Kyler Murray will just throw one pass to DeAndre Hopkins and get a touchdown, and then you get more from Dallas. I think because this is Andy Dalton's truly first opportunity as a starter in Dallas to succeed, I think he's going to win this first game. And then from here on out, then we're going to spiral out of control. But I think since it's the first game and Andy Dalton knows he has so much to prove, I think they get a win right here against a Chandler Jones-less Arizona Cardinals.
Okay. I'm expecting high scoring as well. The total of 55, we both like that over pretty easily. And of course, I'm going with the Cardinals. But it is a big statement game. It is a big statement game for Andy Dalton.
Please, Andy Dalton. I'm begging you, man. Just for my own sake, because that would put Dallas, just give them another step in the NFC East. That's still terrible. I believe they're still on top with 2 wins.
They are, because the Eagles tried to pull it out yesterday, but couldn't. And no fault to Carson Wentz, who was great. But
yeah, which that's weird to say. But just to have them at 3-3, sitting at 500, that at least makes me happy.
Yeah.
To see my team not completely terrible.
Right, yeah, that's always a good thing. Well, you can hear Levi tonight, 8 o'clock. He'll be on in the O'Cauley student section. Do you have a couple guests? Or are you going to tease them, or are you going to leave that up for when you go live?
We're going to leave that till we go live.
Okay, all right. Tune in to find out.
Do it live.
Tune in to find out. And he'll be having some kind of like we're doing live Chiefs reaction. He'll have live Cowboys reaction going on with the Cardinals. He'll talk OSU, all kinds of good stuff. That's at 8 o'clock tonight. Levi, as always, I appreciate it, man. Of course, we'll link up again on Friday and keep it rolling.
Yes, sir. Hey, love being on, and thank y'all for listening.
All right, man. That's Levi Peckinpah. I'm Patrick Wheeler. We'll be back after this in the afternoon sports drive to break down the rest of what happened in the NFL, as well as the World Series is set in Major League Baseball, also to come.
Feel like I'm gonna puke, cause my taxes are due. Do my best, we'll begin with a 1 or a 2. Been a hell of a ride, but I'm thinking it's time to grow.
Metronome.
Man, I'm up to something. Ooh-dee-la-dee-do, thank you all for coming. I hope you like the show, cause it's on a budget. So ooh-dee-la-dee-do, yeah. Come on, here we go, yeah. Come on.
Here we go.
So put your best face on, everybody pretend you know this song. Everybody come hang. Let's go out with a bang.
Welcome back into the afternoon sports drive, Triple Play Sports Radio Network. Patrick Wheeler here on this Monday. Chiefs are driving And what do you know? They give the ball to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He busts off a big run, is up to 40-plus yards on the ground in the first quarter. I mean, I know I wasn't just making up some elaborate scheme for what the Chiefs needed to do to get it going on offense, and here they are doing it, and then they're getting a drive going. So, yeah, run the ball. I mean, that was one of my main points about the Chiefs coming in this week was just give them a chance. And bringing in Le'Veon will certainly add to that conversation, but we're going to get to that here in a little bit. But coming into this week in Week 6 in the NFL, one of the most important games, and also one of the most look forward to games of the week was the Packers and the Bucs, because you had Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers Part 3, and it ultimately ended up being a beatdown. Right, the Bucs just dominated. They win 38-10. It didn't start that way. I mean, obviously you had the Packers go up 10-0 as the Chiefs get a touchdown to Travis Kelce. There you go. And then the Bucs come in and score 38 straight. 38 straight. That's not easy to do. But here's why the Bucs have a chance for prolonged success. And it has to do with Tom Brady, but maybe not in the way that you'd think. The Bucs have a real chance for prolonged success this year because they're hiding Tom Brady. They're hiding Tom Brady. And what do I mean by that? I mean, he's no longer the main act like he was with the Patriots, because he doesn't have to be. He reminds me of this year. He's like that box of cereal at the grocery store, right? It has the scratch or two on it. Fell on the ground and it got damaged a little bit, but it's still useful. However, you don't put it front and center. You move it back a couple of rows because you have your more attractive and intact box up front and center. Well, that's what the Bucs are doing right now. They have the attractive defense. Oh my goodness. They have Ronnie Jones, Chris Godwin. I mean, all these guys are up front, and they're good enough, Brady is, to sprinkle him in here and there. And he's good enough to get you a play when you need it. But you're not necessarily going to feature him like the Patriots used to do. And that's why you have a real shot here for the Bucs, because you don't need him to come in and get 350 yards passing a game. And frankly, it's better right now if Tom Brady doesn't have to throw for 350 yards a game. It just is. But this Bucs defense is just swarming. I mean, they are absolutely out of their minds. And we saw that yesterday. When the Bucs can come in and dominate an offense like the Green Bay Packers, who are still, in my mind, a Super Bowl contending team, and Aaron Rodgers still has a shot at a fantastic season. But when they're able to shut that offense and Aaron Rodgers down, you know that's a legitimate defense. That is a legitimate defense. I mean, the linebackers are good. Up front, they're really good. They might be the best fundamentally tackling defense I've seen in a long time. Fundamentally, easily some of the best tackling I've seen. They're really pesky in the secondary. When you pick off Aaron Rodgers twice and one of them ends up being a pick six, you know you've got a good solid squad there. How about only allowing the Packers to get to 210 total yards of offense? That's unheard of. And that was with a healthy Devontae Adams. And then to make things worse for anybody playing the Bucs at this point, you add a legitimate running game, and oh my goodness, they look scary. And let me on these airwaves formally express my regrets to Ronald Jones, okay? Because everyone knows that I came on here and I was steamed when the Bucs signed Leonard Fournette and Bruce Arians came out and said he's not going to be the guy really, though. It's not going to start. It's going to be Ronnie Jones' backfield. It's like, are you kidding me? We saw what Ronnie Jones did last year. And we came in and we looked at this Bucs offense and we said, okay, quarterback, Tom Brady. Obviously good. Wide receivers, Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, obviously really good. Tight ends, Rob Gronkowski, Cameron Brate, O.J. Howard, really good. So it was easy to leave the running back off because Rojo had so much competition on that offensive side. There were so many other prettier items to choose from. But he's listened to a little bit of that noise this offseason, and it's really easy to see that he has come out a different player. And what has Tom Brady relied on these past few years with New England? Two things. A really, really good defense and a running game. And running backs that can catch the ball out of the backfield. And he now has that formula for success here again with the Buccaneers, and at the same time basically left the Patriots in the dust with nothing. Because they really don't. The Patriots are in serious trouble. I believe that. But the Bucs have every piece around Tom Brady for him to succeed. And they showed that yesterday. That looked like a really formidable team. And that was with Tom Brady even throwing under 200 yards. He didn't even have to go over 200 yards. And they put up 38 points. I mean, the rest of the league has to be paying attention at this point. Because Tom Brady did look good on his throws, too. I'll admit that. He looked really good. He looked like old Tom Brady on a lot of his throws. They were sharp. Rob Gronkowski was an actual part of the attack this time. He catches, 5 balls, I think it was, for 70 yards. That's a good sign. The chemistry's never left. And so for the Packers on the other side, everyone's asking, well, what's the issue? Why did that happen? I think they kind of ran into a buzzsaw situation here, but Aaron Rodgers was right with his post-game comments. He basically said, look, I think we actually needed a kick in the butt. I think we actually needed a kick in the butt here. Because we come in and think we're all hot and can't be stopped. Well, we kind of got put in our place, and maybe that humbles us enough to where we go back to the drawing board, look at a few things, and come back ready to go next week. And I think that's what you want to hear from Aaron Rodgers. Because you, as Levi said earlier, you don't want to play a really mad Aaron Rodgers, and guess what? That's what he's going to be coming into this next week. He is going to be a very upset Aaron Rodgers, and when he comes in the rest of the season, I say look out. I say this was actually something that helped the Packers. He's right. The Bucs doing what they did actually laid the groundwork for the Packers to come in and have success because a mad Aaron Rodgers is a successful and productive Aaron Rodgers. And by the way, I don't think they're really that worried about the Bears. I just don't think they're that worried about the Bears at 5-1 in the NFC North. Because the Bears are certainly the worst 5-1 team in the NFL. They do not scare anybody. I'm sorry, but they don't. They just don't, people. Speaking of, though, it was interesting to hear what Bears quarterback Nick Foles had to say after the win. Because he came up in this situation where he was able to show everybody, look, I am the guy. I should have been the guy. And we're going to take a listen to what he had to say after the game on Sunday and the win. This was Nick Foles talking about it. The question was asked of him, would he rather win ugly or lose pretty? Listen to this answer.
Nick, the trend kind of continues. You're not finding that consistency that you're striving for on offense, but you are winning games. How do you come to grips with all that? Is this what you guys are? Kind of a win ugly, inconsistent team? Are you okay with that? Or does the offense really have to improve for you to go where you want to go?
Well, I first say, would you rather lose pretty or win ugly? I think that we'd rather win ugly. I think that's the common thing. So I think it tells you a lot about our team. Is this who we are offensively? We want to improve. We want to get better. We want to have rhythm. But ultimately in the NFL, it's about winning games. It doesn't matter how you do it. It just matters that you get it done. If you put up 50 points and you lose a game, those 50 points don't mean anything. So right now we're winning games. We're playing together as a team. We can improve. I think that's exciting. If we were winning these games and playing perfect and they were this tight and we're playing perfect, what do you do? Where do you improve? I mean, then we're sitting here as like, man, I guess when we just, play those teams, it's just not going to happen. Well, right now we have a lot of areas to improve offensively once again, but we are figuring out ways to, score and get points and move the ball and do those things. We can fix what we're doing. It doesn't happen overnight. Offenses don't get fixed overnight. And sometimes they don't get fixed throughout the course of years. You've seen in the NFL, there's been teams that have been bad offensively for a very long time. We're not one of those teams. We're a team that's young offensively. We're growing. We're getting to know each other. We're figuring out who we are, and we're doing it at the right time. And as a team, we're winning these games. And I think that's what's important. Now, we're not going to get complacent and say, hey, man, we're 5-1. This is it. No, like we're sitting there in the locker room after the game talking through it. Hey, we got to be better here. This is what we got to do here. Communication here, route running here. Hey, we got to be able to run the ball here. We know that.
So Nick Foles obviously fired up there. I like it. When he comes in, he basically says, hey, would you rather win ugly or lose pretty? I think that's an awesome answer. However, I think it's naive for anybody to jump on the Bears train here and think this is going to last the entire season. Because I'm sorry, it's just not. Like, I love Nick Foles. I think there's talent there. But at some point, there will come a game, you mark my words, and it may happen in the near future, there will come a game where fans come on and say, oh my gosh, Nick Foles is terrible, let's get Mitch Trubisky back in here. I mean, that is coming up next. So while I want to believe in this offense, I'm not going to. I think it's interesting that the Bears are where they are. They should not have beat the Bucs. Like, we all know Tom Brady lost count of the downs at the end of that game, but at the same time, that should have been a loss for the Bears. So I'm not bought in on the Bucs. If I come in a few weeks later and they're 8-1, then maybe it starts to look a little different, but I seriously doubt it. It's kind of like an inevitable situation here where we know the Bears are going to start falling apart at some point. So while I love Nick Foles' confidence, and I think he is right on about nobody cares about anything else other than wins, because that's true. As he said, a team could score 50 points and still lose, and nobody cares. Or still, as long as there's a win on the column, nobody cares how much you win by or how many points you score. So he does have a point there, but talking about how, and what kind of gave it away to me is, look, this offense, and we're still kind of trying to get to know each other. Okay, well, we're going to be 6 weeks into the season. You need to know each other by now. So yes, they're 5-1, but absolutely the worst 5-1 team in the league, and we will find that out in a couple of weeks for sure, that it is not going to pan out for them in the long run. When we come back, we have the World Series set, and oh my goodness, it has to be tough to be a Braves fan. We'll talk about that to round out the show in the afternoon sports drive. That's next.
'Cause our home's a wreck. Look at this mess. You blame it on disobedience, but I think it's time you realize you're the one in the wrong. Caught in the midst of your insecure wits.
Welcome back to the afternoon sports drive on the Triple Play Sports Radio Network. With Patrick Wheeler hanging out with you on this Monday as we get ready to wrap it up. Kansas City Chiefs lead the Buffalo Bills 7-3 early in the second quarter. The Bills are doing exactly what they needed to do a couple weeks ago, and even in this past game with the Titans, which is run the ball with Josh Allen too, because he is so skilled on the ground, and they're doing that a lot more in this game so far, and for the most part, I've found success giving him a lot more option reads, that type of thing. He's just so talented, and they didn't really utilize that all that much against Tennessee, but obviously the Chiefs and the Bills really going back to what their game plan should entail more of, and so far it's been a tight game, so it's been fun to watch. Obviously, that going on right now, and then later on tonight, Cowboys and the Arizona Cardinals. First game with no Dak Prescott. A lot of eyes will be on that to see how Andy Dalton manages. He has a big-time performance. Could be, honestly, the biggest of his life, just to prove to everyone that he can maybe still do it. So, of course, that'll be a fun one tonight. Last night in Major League Baseball, yikes. Just a tough situation if you're a Braves fan. A tough situation if you're a Braves fan. Really just a tough situation if you're a fan of Atlanta and or Georgia at all, because you have the Braves blowing a 3-1 lead, right, in the NLCS. Then obviously you have the Falcons, who we already know what they've done this year. Oh, not to mention their lead that they blew in the Super Bowl against the Patriots, 28-3. Then on top of that, you had Georgia, who this week showed up in the first half and then just got steamrolled by Alabama in the second half, and that was all she wrote. So a tough time to be an Atlanta or Georgia fan here. Braves-Dodgers last night, and look, I admit it, I fell for it. I said it was one of the buy or sell questions, I think, last week. Do I buy or sell trusting in this Braves team? I admit it, I fell for it, and I said that I I fully bought in to them, meaning that I trusted they would have a chance to get to the World Series and actually win it because their lineup was so talented. But when you look at the Braves coming into it, it's also a part of it. All of us are like, we knew it was going to happen. Like, I gave that take and I won it, but it's just like in the back of my mind, because of what the Braves have done for a consistent basis in the playoffs, they did it again, where they cannot get into a position to actually win, even though they have a lot of talent on the field. And that's what they pulled again last night. They were up 3-1 in the NLCS. You lose 3 straight games. That just doesn't happen. That's not supposed to happen. So I hate it for them. As far as in the offseason, I don't know what they do with Marcell Ozuna. I think they want to re-sign him. I think they should. Obviously, the Cardinals missed out on that. And the Braves should go ahead and not miss out on that. At the same time, he did screw them pretty bad on the base paths the other night, which was one of the knocks he had with St. Louis too, but always a great bat. Probably if you're the Braves, you were hoping you got a shot at Clayton Kershaw. You would have been the best chance to give up some runs. But last night, I mean, my goodness, Mookie Betts makes another incredible catch and basically takes all hope out of the Braves. And then to cap things off, Cody Bellinger hits one in the upper deck. I mean, just an absolute bomb, and that sealed it. So the Braves were there. They had everything in place. The lineup was smoking. But last night, it was true playoff baseball. You had a lot of plays at the plate. You had a lot of quick outs. You had some base running issues. But it was one of those games where every single out and every single pitch meant a ton. It was all hanging in the balance on every single pitch. So I hate it for the Braves. Obviously not a Dodgers fan. But congratulations to them, nonetheless, for getting back to the World Series. Question is, can they actually pull it off this time? Because the Rays are a legitimate team. I think it'll be a fun World Series to watch. There's a lot of talent on both sides. So who am I picking in the World Series, Dodgers and the Rays? I'm going to go with the Rays. I think they're going to have what it takes, and this is their year. It will also be interesting to see, because there will be fans in the stands here in Dallas, right, or in Arlington, and there's going to be like no Rays fans. There will be I feel like an overwhelming Dodgers presence and not a lot of Rays fans at the World Series. So, but it'll be a fun one. I encourage you to check out a few of those games if you like good baseball, if you like powerful hitting, and if you like exciting baseball. As the Chiefs just give up a touchdown on just an incredible catch by Stephon Diggs. What a throw, too, by Josh Allen. This team, the Bills are so dangerous. And after last week with the Titans, a lot of people might have lost some faith in them, but don't. They are a legitimately dangerous team, and that's why it does not bode well in that division for the Patriots. This is the team you have to get past. I'm sorry, but it is. And then they're legit. That was a great play. Tonight, again, reminder, Cowboys and Cardinals. My prediction, I have the Cardinals winning, and to make sure you still have that opportunity before they kick off, I like the over in that game as well. The over-under is at 55, the total at 55, and I like that over. I think there's a ton of points scored here tonight. Dallas defense still doesn't exist. Kyler Murray is a legitimate threat. I see him going for over 3 total touchdowns tonight. Give him 1 on the ground and 3 through the air. I think it's going to be that kind of night. Andy Dalton, look, they're going to take the pressure off him with Zeke. That's no doubt. But then from there on, they really need to see if Andy Dalton can make plays with that trio of receivers they have. They have so many good receivers. Leighton Vander Esch is back for the Cowboys on defense. So they should be a legitimate, at least have an opportunity to stay legitimate on offense tonight against the Cardinals. I encourage everyone to check that one out too. And see, especially if you're a Cowboys fan, do the Cowboys have what it takes in this awful NFC East division to still stay relevant? Heck, maybe even win this thing with Andy Dalton. That'd be a 2020 story, no doubt. This has been the Afternoon Sports Drive on the Triple Play Sports Radio Network with Patrick Wheeler. Big thank you to Levi Peckinpah for joining me. Of course, you can check out his show tonight at 8 o'clock here on the Triple Play Sports Radio Network. I'll be back tomorrow, and we'll keep it going here as, of course, OSU plays Iowa State this Saturday. We'll have the coverage on them all week long here your only home for Oklahoma State sports on the Triple Play Sports Radio Network. See you back here tomorrow.